Welcome to Google Ads Unleashed, the podcast that helps you harness the power of Google Ads. And now your host, Jeremy Young.
Hello and welcome back to Google Ads Unleashed. Hope everyone is doing well this fine week. And today I'm going to bring to you a tip which sounds incredulous at first, but hear me out. I can teach you today how to save 20% on click costs across Google Shopping in just one single tip today. Which means that not only will you save, but your competitors will need to bid 25% more to achieve the same ad rank as you. And unbelievably, it's a very, very straightforward tip, which not a lot of people. It is quite widespread in some sort of countries, but in many others, it's still underutilized massively. So I want to tell you about it, and it's all about using CSSs and their click saving power. So first of all, let's dive into story time first, and I'll tell you a little bit about where this comes from and what it's all about. And because it sounds crazy, right? Like, how could you save 20% overnight? So I might butcher some of the details of the story, but I'm just going to go ahead anyway. So in 2015, the EU cartel law, or the EU cartel agency, determined that Google was breaking EU cartel laws. Why? Because what happens when you list your products in Merchant Center? In theory, all that happens, because you can do that for free, right? And you probably know the free listings in Merchant Center as well. All it does is you host your products on the Google Shopping price comparison site, because that's what Google Shopping originally was, right? And is. It is a price comparison engine on the Google network. So you've probably seen this as well. If you Google anything like jeans for men, you head to shopping, you scroll down, there are all these free listings, and actual clicks on those do not cost anything. Of course, they don't get that much attention, because they, like any SEO result, will hide on your SEO results, or your products will hide on page 15 or something like that for your search terms. Which is why Google then came up with the idea, of course, to use Google Shopping ads. So that means you take those organic listings, put some ad spend behind them, and boost them to the top. That is what we see when we head to Google Shopping, when we head to images, when we head to the normal SERP, when you are actually Googling for products and looking to purchase something. Okay, you see those listings. Now, the issue is why the EU took umbrage to this is that Google wasn't allowing other price comparison sites to do the same. And there are loads of price comparison sites out there. Probably you've shopped from loads without even knowing it. For instance, Calcu is a very, very famous one, right? What's another one? In Germany, there's one called, for instance, Idealo, which is a very famous price comparison site where a lot of people purchase stuff from. And generally, the EU had a problem with that Google wasn't allowing this. So they said, okay, Google, you have to allow other CSSs, comparison shopping sites, to be able to list or do Google ads or shopping ads as well. So Google said yes, okay, and to avoid a massive, massive fine, they actually agreed, and this is the God's honest truth, you can read this up, you can Google it, many of you may even know already, they agreed that any click that comes from a CSS listing may receive a 20% rebate, or I should say a 20% discount on each click that goes on a CSS click. So I encourage you to do this now. If you're not in the EU, this will not work. So try and use a VPN or isearchfrom.com to emulate this search. Go on to, let's say, Germany if you're outside of the EU, or go just within your normal SERP. Type in something like jeans for men or anything to shop, and then have a look at the results. Sometimes it'll say under the result by Google, sometimes it'll say by Productcaster, by Adference, by Calcu, by Cobiro, by whatever. And that's what that is all about. Those are the listings normal on Google, on the normal Google shopping, that are now boosted to the top. Then it says by Google down there. Or the other ones which you are seeing there are advertisers using the CSS feature and thus saving 20% on their click costs that come through there. Now, let's talk a little bit about three core things about when doing this, right? So first of all, are there any disadvantages to this? Well, first of all, let's talk about how it works. And then the second, are there any disadvantages to this? Then who is this for? And then the fourth thing, how you're actually going to get it. So first of all, how does the discount work? Exactly as I just described, right? Google had to forfeit and give them a 20% discount. That means if you've done that exercise just now, which I've showed you, and you got two listings, one by a CSS and one it says by Google. Let's say you click on the by Google one and it costs $1 for this person to have earned this click. Then it'll only cost 80 cents for the CSS click. But that also means at the same time, if you put this into reverse, that someone who uses Google must actually bid 25% more to achieve the same bid as someone as a CSS. Think about it, right? Because 80 cents, a quarter of an 80 cents is another 20 cents, so that makes up for the dollar. So that is where then the bids equalize. That means you, in theory, by getting a 20% discount, have 25% more bidding power than someone else in the auction who is using Google. And how do you notice the discount? So this is one which is a little bit debated because a lot of people are sort of saying, okay, Google is probably, has to do this, but same on how they manipulate their auctions. Just look at the trials from like the beginning of the year last year. Maybe they actually aren't even getting a 20% like reduction in click costs. Maybe they're just fiddling with the numbers and it may look like it, but it's not actually true. Well, a lot of those CSSs have done studies and they see that if you maintain your bidding strategy after switching to a CSS, whereby, by the way, nothing happens, right? Like it's totally, nothing changes. It's as if you never changed Google Ads or Merchant Center. You still have Merchant Center. You still have the Google Ads interface. Nothing changes for you after the switch. But what may change is that with the same bidding strategy, since you suddenly have a lot more bidding power, you get just to win more auctions, right? So by winning more auctions, you get more impressions and then more clicks as a result. So that is something that may happen, or what may happen is that you achieve the same result but at about 20% less click costs, which means that you just become more profitable, or somewhat in between of those two, right? So generally speaking, we see a positive effect, but it's really, really hard to quantify, okay? So that is basically what this 20% discount is and what happens. How can you use it? Exactly what I said. Keep the bids to get more volume, or obviously you can then lower your bids to get the same volume whilst paying less. And this also applies to automated bidding strategies and to PMax only in the shopping listings, right? So of course this won't touch search, this won't touch display or anything else. This is purely about shopping. Now, what are the disadvantages? Like I said, there's a fear that Google may penalize you or something like that. I've heard this rumor. I've not seen any evidence of it, but to be honest, nothing would surprise me because Google's unscrupulous, right? So you never know what may happen. I don't think there's any risk, so you can go ahead really quite risk-free. I think the only disadvantage is that this is only available in the EU, right? This is not available outside of the EU. So it doesn't even matter if you're an American advertiser. Maybe you got campaigns running in the EU, you could use it for there, right? So just a good tip for that, because if you're not an EU native, you might not know about this. The other disadvantages is, let's say you get a lot of free clicks through the Google Shopping free listings. You may lose these, right? But you want to maybe just check how much do you actually make from those, and does the savings that you get from a CSS actually compensate far more for the increased volume or the increased profitability that you may get from Google Shopping. Who is this for? I would say any advertiser who spends quite 3 or 4 figures at least. Why that? Because you will have to pay a subscription for those, and you of course have to amortize the subscription with the costs of that you may save, right? So let's say you spend £1,000 on Google Shopping, and by the way you find this out is actually really straightforward. You can find out how much you spend on the Google CSS. You open your Google Ads account, then you head to billing, then I'm pretty sure you head to settings after, and then you can see comparison shopping service, and then it says usually Google Shopping if you're still on there, and then it says how much you actually spend via Google Shopping, and if you have a significant number here, then you may consider, okay, if I save 20% on this, is that more than I could, am I still making a profit if I just pay a subscription to a CSS, right? So that's who it's for, and of course it's for EU advertisers only. Then finally, how do you switch? Well, you find a CSS, right? So just Google them, do your research. There are tons out there. Productcaster, Adference, Calcu. Lots of agencies use their own CSSs, which they built. There is Cobiro, there is Product Hero, there is a Big Shopper. There's so many, right? Just look and see what the best prices are. Just beware of some models, they want sort of a percentage of ad spend or something like that. That's stupid. Just go for one which offers a plain subscription. My personal favorites, and I'm not promoting or affiliated to them at all, would be either Cobiro or Product Hero. Cobiro just because it's very cheap, so go to Cobiro.com with a C, Cobiro.com. It costs about $20 a month, so super cheap, right? Does the trick and is super easy to use. And the other one, which is okay as well, is Product Hero. The cool thing with that is that it brings actually its own labelizer as well, right? So I've done an episode on labelizing strategies and on Flow Boost, so go back to listen to that one, but Product Hero actually has this one as well. So hopefully that has been helpful. Just a quick and dirty tip which anyone can implement to boost their profitability with shopping and their competitiveness. And if you need any more expert tips and advice, then don't hesitate to reach out. It is Q4, but we are still answering messages, so you can email me at jeremy@younganddigital.marketing or find me on LinkedIn via Jeremy Young Google Ads. You can also book a one-to-one consultation with me at younganddigital.marketing. Whether it's PPC management or one-to-one coaching, I'm here to support your PPC growth. This has been Jeremy Young, your dedicated Google Ads expert, and I wish you a productive and successful week ahead. Ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to Google Ads Unleashed. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you found value in today's podcast, please share it with others and leave a rating and a review. For more information or to connect with Jeremy, check him out online at www.younganddigital.marketing. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.